Welcome to our next session. I'm Tamás Erdődi and this is the Modern Artist Club. Today I feel that it would be great to jump back a bit to the gouache and also a little bit the summer. During the week I had a chance to visit the riverside close to my studio. It was 8 in the morning. I just stand in front of the door and I felt that, I would love to go outside and spend a little time before sitting down to the computer and start working. So the sun was shining and it was just a calling moment. Found this really nice chill spot. I just grabbed my paints and started painting. And what is exciting about this spot for me is how we can show the depth and how in the distance you can see that it's a crossing of two rivers and we can see a bit more depth, and that is really grayish, and especially in the morning atmosphere it is strikingly visible that you have a larger distance. I feel that it's a really interesting composition also, and we can play a lot with how we convey this sandy beach and also the waves and the far distant side of the river. So just jump into that because we will work with the gouache. It's really easy to make changes, and I feel that the whole landscape painting side of the art creation is something that is really fun, and also we can learn a lot from the dimensions and depth and how we can create the illusion of the space. To start with the composition, I like to block in the main shapes. I feel that the sketch could be a great helper. Maybe start with the horizon. I like to start sketching with a vibrant color and not necessarily graphite, because if in the end I will have some visible marks in the scene, it's fine, and maybe it just helps the vibrancy of the image. Why I chose this image was the beautiful glow on the water, and also the lens flare could be interesting to paint in. On location I couldn't add more white, and I felt that maybe it would be interesting to use colors instead of the white again for the sun. I feel that this is a possible improvement from the sketch. But basically we will have this gray-green background area with the free values. We can have the sand, which should be like a grayish brownish color, and also we have this really interesting reflection of the left side closer trees. We can have some fun with this composition. I like to also look at my photo reference and my on-location sketch and possibly create a mix of these two. By the way, this short session is part of the Start to Paint Your Way series that helps you begin with simple steps and find inspiration in your own everyday life. You can watch the full replay in Modern Artist Club. The link is under the video, but let's continue with the composition. When I'm sketching outside, I like to look at these big shapes, trying to find the main essence of the scene and also look at what's important and what we can skip and maybe what is something that we can add later. In the photo reference we can't really see this separation, how the lit area of the trees, for example in the background, how they separated the form. But in real life you see this amazing dynamic range of values even inside the tree line, and you can see this clearly how these almost like C shapes shape the light and make a division for the light and the dark in these far distance trees. Also, one really interesting perspective rule in this case is if I mark the horizon, we should avoid placing the horizon in the dead center. Also, I see that I'm not fully horizontal. Yeah. This could be really tricky on the page, especially if you are working on a flat surface. It's helpful to stand up with your sketch or just lift it up and make sure that the horizon line is not tilted, because especially in a water scene, this could break the realism. And for the perspective, the far distant trees are sitting on the top edge, and how we can make sure that it's visible that these tree shapes are not on one flat line, but for example, this other sketch is a great example. Here we have one almost straight distant depth area, but in this case we should have a slight separation between the tree shapes. So we have the top, and this should be a bit lower, and this is coming even lower. We should think about these shapes and almost like in theater, how they place these big built elements on the stage. We should think about like that. The sun is coming down almost like exactly at the center. So how I like to divide, for example, these ratios is even try to measure with my pencil. We can use this trick even when painting on location. I like to take a photograph and compare my sketch to that and see how far or how close I am.
I like the light color that you've used. That's nice.
Which one? The blue? Or
the light blue for the water.
To be honest, it's outside. It feels so different, especially as you are looking into the sun. It's somehow magical, but trying to paint this color is a really tricky challenge, because it's not really blue. How we see in the photograph, it looks like the ultramarine. The photograph is compressing the colors and chooses only one tone. And in reality, you have these like vibrancy of colors, and I think that it's much closer to this like turquoise color. At one point, I would love to experiment a bit with the more impressionistic colors, and what happens if we use the pink, for example, in the sky. I feel that would be really interesting, how that energy like really special. And the impressionists use like violets in the far distance, and also crazy colors with these rules in mind, like the depth and how we can separate, for example, the different objects in the scene. I'm a huge fan of the impressionists. Let's start mixing the colors. We will need a bunch of white, cerulean blue, which is really close to the cyan, the ultramarine. And of course we will need a little bit of magenta. Just to bring it down a bit. And just like last time, we have exact colors for these browns. For example, the burnt sienna is one of them. It's not a rule to not use extra colors, just if you learn to manipulate your colors, even if you have a limited palette, if you decide to paint any exotic subject, you will have much better freedom with mixing specific colors. For example, I have this cadmium yellow deep, and this is a really nice sunlight color. I think that I've used that on location. You know what? It's enough for the sand. The how I have it. We can add a little bit more yellow, a little bit more white, and light up this color and create the edge lighter. And these color choices and color mixes will be really helpful when you try to paint on occasion. And what I like to think about is these are all like gradients, and we should have these nuanced transitions everywhere. And just by adding a little bit of lemon yellow or cadmium yellow and a little bit of white, I was able to create this third color where the sand is really glowing, and I feel that if I just use a ready-made color, I wouldn't be able to create this differentiation between the colors. This scene is great for showing these slight gradients. If you look to the left side, for example, the sun is lighting up the sand, and around where it touches the water, it is a really bright, almost like white color, and around the edge it is much darker. And if we like to darken a color, we can just add the blue and the magenta and basically tone it down. And I love this, the mix, how these the red and the blue mixes together. It's so vibrant. For the designing of the shapes, you can see that this dark color is connecting to the trees, and this creates a really nice design. Okay, but now it's time to paint the light blues. One thing I like to keep in mind is using again this gradient approach. So around the horizon, everything should be lighter because we are closer to the sun. Maybe start in the middle somewhere, and from there we can add a bit more light or water, and keep in mind that the glow should be white. Let's continue with the sky. Oh yes, this is a bit too strong. If you imagine the sky, and next time when you are walking in nature, I would love to encourage you to take a moment to look at the relationship between the sky and everything else, and you will see that the sky is the lightest. Of course, the sun will be the hot spot, but because of the atmosphere and the stuff in the air, the sky is the lightest tone. So we should add more light, more white to that. You can also add pure white as you have paints on your brush. It will mix together with, so as long as your brush is a little bit wet, you will not paint exactly with white. That's why I love this on the spot, like mixing and painting, because you are organically mixing colors. Okay, and one last thing is the sky holes, as especially this closer tree shape should have some visible edge detail, and I like to just add some points and break up the edge so it looks like you can see through the branches. The island in the middle is a bit funky, so I like to correct that by activating the green color and maybe a little bit of yellow. And of course, one thing we can also add is the reflection of the island, and for that we can use the same color, but as you can see we have these ripples, a little breeze which breaks the reflection, so we don't see a clear reflection of the trees in the background, but we need a bit more pigment. So I will use, yes. And for this effect to work, we should use like horizontal strokes. Keep in mind that the waves are reflecting. Usually the reflection should be the same size as the tree, for example. In an ideal world, the reflection should be the same size as the original shape. I've already broke this rule here, so if it's like 2 or 3 centimeters, then we shouldn't make a reflection much higher, for example. Ooh, and one little addition, but maybe this is like the cherry on top, just to warm it up a little bit, the reflection. But maybe this will not be so visible just when it's dry.
Okay, how's that doing? A bit straighter?
Yep.
A bit straighter there.
It's great.
I like it. It was fun.
That's the most important. I like how it turned out. I feel that mixing the greens is one of the hardest, and we have a huge space for what looks natural and how we can show something, especially in depth, in perspective, so we can learn a lot from these. I use this the same color transition from this earlier painting, and I feel that it helps a lot with making the transition a bit more realistic. Definitely, I feel that this is something that you can spot on location. We have covered some interesting techniques today. Thank you very much for joining, and I hope you tried it too, and see you next time, and happy painting. Ciao.
Happy painting. Thank you.
Thanks for watching till the end, this shorter cut. During the live session we share live feedback and also paint together. So if you like to join, you can find the link to the Modern Artist Club under the video. Have a creative, inspiring week.